Good morning. I don't know about you, but there's something to me special about the Sunday before Thanksgiving, because it kind of, to me, Thanksgiving kind of symbolizes the holidays. You have a lot of memories going, and I apologize for Sir Chirpy here. He's still going on. But it's something about it. It's anticipation of spending the day with family, eating lots of good food. Just something sweet about it to me. So, not to mention all the good things that are going on this week. But I want to start off with a special welcome we have to a couple of characters here in the fourth, fifth row back here with the hats and the mustache and the beards. I think it's George Fox and Harry Fox. That's what I was told. I suppose we'll hear more about that later, maybe. But another special thing today is we have our precious Sloan back with us. We are so glad to see you. Just absolutely overjoyed. Thank you. The flowers this morning, Kendall wanted me to make sure, or Nancy actually wanted to make sure that everybody knew this is a consolidation of their efforts. Kendall's and Nancy's and Philip's. Philip and Kendall got the goodies and Nancy made the arrangement. And it's beautiful, and again, just gets you in that Thanksgiving spirit. For our announcements, we'll start off with birthdays, and I believe Harry Fox has a birthday this week. That would be Stella Foltz. So y'all be sure and tell Harry, Stella, happy birthday. And Sloan's son Corbin has a birthday this month, so we'll be sure and wish him a happy birthday. There is no Bible study this week in lieu of everybody that would be at Bible study and everybody else in here this morning and everybody else we can gather up coming Tuesday night to the community Thanksgiving service. The choir at Parkwood is giving the music. Our own precious Pastor Philip is giving the message. The choir's doing the music. We're doing the hosting, so we need some kind of light refreshments for afterwards, but we honestly need everybody here to get into that and help us celebrate that. What else do we have in the way of announcements? Anything? Susie's got her hand up.
News tonight, I'm going to be on Channel 2 from 9:55 to 10 o'clock. They're interviewing the veterans from this area.
Wow.
So I'm really proud and I appreciate it a lot.
Thank you for your service. Thank you.
We'd just like to thank everybody that came out to help this week with the chicken pies. Thursday was a full day. Friday was 3/4 of a day. And then Saturday was another full day. And we appreciate all the help that we got. If I started naming people, I would leave somebody out, and I don't want to. There are people that were here working that we couldn't have done it without them. There are some left. We had some extras. If you'll meet Marianne and I in the kitchen afterwards, we'll see how many are left and go from there. Some of you haven't picked yours up or paid for them, and that will take care of too. There are a few extra bags of chicken available if you'd like just to buy a bag of chicken, and there's a few gravies, but we have to make sure we have enough for the chicken pies first to make sure that we have enough gravy. To leave anything out, Marianne?
Just a few chicken pies left also.
I said that.
Okay, gotcha. Then you're good.
See, it takes a team to make the announcements too. Oh, we have buttermilk. We thought we weren't going to have enough buttermilk, and the Lord said, "Let there be buttermilk," and there is gobs of it. So if you and Marianne's mother, Mary Evelyn, made the best congealed salad with buttermilk in it. If you need to get that recipe, you need to make that recipe for this Thursday and then maybe one the next week, and the next week, and the next week. Please, if you know how to use buttermilk in anything that you cook, please get some. There is 1 gallon of sweet milk, almost full, that's left, but and that can go too. But please, just visit us at the chicken pie store after worship today.
Yes, David.
Kat wanted me to remind everybody our poinsettia sale ends this Saturday. Right now, we only have 24 that have been sold. We need at least, I think it's 56 or so to get that beautiful tree up front there. So please get those orders in this week. You can put it in the offering plate with one of the order forms that's back here, or you can go to the website and you can place an order there. And the proceeds for that are to benefit our friends the Beasleys. And I dare you to go over and look at that sweet little baby and not buy it a poinsettia, okay? And this Saturday as well here, everybody is welcomed as the giving tree is on its way. We are going to be making ornaments for that and having a good old time. Anybody who wants to come and help with that and have fun with us, we would love to have you come. All the kids are going to be here to help make those, so please join us.
Well, I need to offer an apology of sorts. This morning was Quaker Men's meeting, and I remembered it on the way to church this morning. Tommy showed up and did some other chores around the meeting house. For all those who intended to show, just raise your hand, and we'll have a meeting next Sunday not next Sunday, but next month for Quaker Men. So those who intended to show up this morning, y'all be here next month, and we'll have a Quaker Men's meeting.
Next Sunday, I'm going to set up the Deep River Post Office down in the Fellowship Hall. I bring 4 toters, and alphabetically you can place your Christmas cards, your in-house Christmas cards in, so you can save on the postage. And just, regularly try to go after meeting on Sundays to get your cards out because they fill up.
Any others? Okay, so you all have your marching orders. You gotta get your poinsettias purchased. Come Saturday for the Christmas tree. Come Tuesday night for community Thanksgiving service. Show up some Sunday next month for Quaker Men. See Dwight or Tommy about that later. But let's and go get you some buttermilk so you can have those buttermilk biscuits for Thanksgiving. If you're like my daddy, you used it with cornbread. Not me. Susie and I didn't catch that, Gene. Okay. We'll begin our worship this morning by standing and singing hymn number 560 together. Greet your neighbor as you feel led. And let's sing For the Beauty of the Earth together.
Darling, your hat. Well, we've come to that portion of our service where we share of our joys, our loves, our sorrows, our tears in our community, or the things that we want to share with our community that brings us joy, or things we need to share.
I just want to say how glad I am to see faces that we haven't seen in a while. So, Frank and John and especially Sloan. I'm sorry. I worked too hard on chicken pies yesterday. I'm sorry. But I'm just glad y'all are here. So.
I just wanted to say from Nancy and Philip that they miss everyone and they can't wait to be back. They're looking forward to it. They're having a little bit of a hard time right now. Philip is in some pain, not as much with his operation from the accident, but from a fall that he had a few weeks ago. So they're trying to work through that and getting some help with it. So hopefully they'll get that soon. So if you'll keep them in your prayers, that'd be wonderful.
For everybody to keep a dear friend of mine in their heart in the light. Gary is in hospice with terminal cancer, and just hold him in the light as he is in his last days on the earth.
So I'm just want to say that, remember when I was talking about my, grandma's dog Jabbo? So they couldn't really, help, so, they had to, put him, down, and I'm just very, very sad, and I just really miss Jabbo.
All right, and then also I want to hold in the light, or ask us to hold in the light, somebody that, again, visits me from time to time, and she just needs a lot of prayer and a lot of love and a lot of support. Well, okay, well, if we could just sort of gather our hearts and our spirit together as we say a prayer to God. Dear God, we just want to thank you so much for being part of our community. You're the glue that holds us together. You're the glue that has held this congregation together for nearly 300 years. And what a blessing to be able to witness that and see that yesterday in the last few days as we gathered together to just sort of make these chicken pies. There was a lot of blessing there, a lot of love. It was beautiful to behold. And dear God, we want to thank you so much for the visitors that are here with us today who maybe haven't been here too recently, but they have always been here in their heart. And dear God, we just want to thank you so much for them being part of our family and community. Dear God, we want to hold Phil and Nancy in the light. Phil is going through a lot of pain right now. And dear God, give him a little bit of love and light and let him know that it's going to be okay. He's got a long journey ahead of him, and just hold Nancy and Phil in the light. They're beautiful, beautiful people, and we're so glad that they are part of us. Dear God, hold in the light Gary. Dear God, his time on this earth, this plane is maybe not long, but we know that you hold him in your heart and that he is loved by so many and that you will guide him home to you in your time and in your love. Dear God, we want to hold in the light all of our companions, all our furry friends who give us so much love and joy. Dear God, they truly are a precious gift to us, and we just want you to bless them and bless us as we have to say goodbye and lose them and know that they are always in our heart. In your spirit, we pray these words. We love you so much, God. Thank you for loving us. Amen. All right. Let's see. Where are we? Okay, I'm lost in the sermon here. Okay, hold on. No, that's not in here. Where are we at right now? We're at the offering. Oh my gosh. You know, this is crazy because actually you guys are going to kill me because this is, I have to admit this is going to be like a stewardship Sunday. When I promised at one time I would have a stewardship message, and of course I forget the offering. Could we have our ushers please come forward? Oh, all right, okay. I know, we just want to thank our ushers today. Thank you so much, ushers. And all right, let's take a moment to say a quick prayer of thanks. Dear God, we are so thankful for all the gifts we are given in this community, every single one of them. For every chicken that we had to put in a pie, we just want to thank you for all those chickens and all those people and all that love and all that light. And we just want to thank you for the community that we have, this family, and for all the gifts that we are given. We are given so many beautiful gifts. We thank you so much, Lord. Thank you. Amen. Could we have our kids come forward? It's all right. All right, guys. It's a very colorful group we have here. Hey, hello. All right. Hey, what's coming up this week? What's coming up? What do you got, Stella?
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving is correct. That's absolutely correct. And I'm going to ask you right now, what is your favorite part of Thanksgiving?
Spending time with family.
Gosh, spending time with family, that's a great thing. Yep.
The food.
The food. What kind of food? What's your favorite food?
The gravy.
The gravy. Hey, we got some good gravy around here yesterday, that's for sure. What's your favorite thing about Thanksgiving?
Turkey.
Turkey, that's mine. Yeah, that's mine, turkey. Things like that. Do you have a favorite thing about Thanksgiving? What do you think about Thanksgiving? Do you have it? The pumpkins? Yeah! Pumpkin pie. That's great. Well, gosh, each one of those things is important for a good Thanksgiving, isn't it? The turkey, the pumpkin pie, just sort of the getting together with family. But I'm going to tell you what is also important. There's two other things I want you to think of that are important. And number one, of course, I'm going to talk about God, right? Maybe there'll be a moment right before you have the Thanksgiving dinner that you just take a moment to just say a quick prayer. You know, just remember God being a part of that Thanksgiving. And then the other thing I want you to remember, if you can remember that, an important part of Thanksgiving is you. You're a part of it. Yeah, yay. Because you know what? Because when we have Thanksgiving, we give thanks. And what are we giving? What does it mean to give thanks?
To be thanks, to be grateful of what you have.
Right. For sure. That's exactly what it means to be grateful for what do you have. Do you think you have things to be grateful for?
Yes.
Right. How about you? Do you think you have stuff to be grateful for?
Yes.
How about you?
Yes.
Yeah. How about you? Are there things to be grateful for? Yeah. She's nodding her head. Yeah, she is. Right. And I tell you, one of the things that I know your family is very grateful for is you guys, for sure. We want to thank you so much. Can we say a quick prayer, okay? Dear God, we just want to thank you so much for our kids. They are wise, they are beautiful, they are wonderful. And dear God, we want to thank you for them. They are some of our they are our most precious gifts. Dear God, we just want to thank you. And as we bask in your love and your light, we pray. Amen. Thanks, guys.
For our scripture this morning, I'm going to be reading from Philippians 4, verses 4 through 9. Rejoice in the Lord always. I will say it again. Rejoice. Let your gentleness be evident to all. The Lord is near. Do not be anxious about anything, but in prayer and petition with every thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Whatever you have learned or received or heard from me or seen in me, put it into practice, and the God of peace will be with you.
Yesterday was a hard day. It's not easy. I could tell you, I could start yesterday in a variety of moments. I could start at 8 o'clock in the morning. I could start at, well, there are a lot of different, but I want to start at the end. Sometimes it's best to start at the end. And I want to start at the end. Imagine yourself, you could even close your eyes, just imagine this picture of a chicken pie, about 300 degrees or so. And it's just got out of the oven because they just heat it up just a little bit. And then it's just got out of the oven. You mix some vegetables with it. Get that gravy going. Amazing. Amazing. Incredible. It was maybe the best chicken pie I've ever had in my life. Of course. I mean, is there any doubt? I mean, it's great. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And not only did it taste amazing, that was not the best thing about yesterday, or even the last couple of days. The best thing about this experience yesterday was not even the chicken pie, although that was amazing. It was the family, the witnessing all the people giving, putting together, working together, and the experience I had, the connection I had with some folks. Like, for example, is Claire here today? Is Claire here with us? Oh, gosh. I was going to pick on... Well, I'm going to still pick on Claire. Okay. I learned everything I need to learn about chicken pulling and getting that meat off them bones from Claire Wilson. Right? She's an expert of that. She's a dentist, so she knows how to work with her hands and stuff. She's the one who provided us our gloves, by the way, if you want to. But either way, I mean, it's so nice, and I learned all about her practice and what she loves about dentistry, what she doesn't love. She doesn't like root canals, for example. I didn't know that was something dentists didn't like doing. But it was just a great opportunity to talk to her and share with her, and we would pick those bones clean, believe me. We would just pick 20 chickens. And then the other thing is, yesterday specifically, I was what was called a gravy man. All right, I don't know if you know, I'm the one who puts the gravy. If you enjoyed your gravy and your chicken pie, I'm partly responsible. I'll just say that for that gravy being in there. But I was not the only gravy person in there. I had another gravy person, Benita, back there as well, and we were doing it together. And we would, gosh, it's action-packed, action-packed. Well, one of the things I've learned about Benita, which is sort of unique, and about some other folks as well here, is that we are both twins. And I guess in our case, identical twins. And there's some blessings and challenges in that you just can't imagine. And it's beautiful to talk to somebody who has that sort of similar experience, because it's not always easy. I mean, if you read the scriptures, you look at the life of Jacob and Esau, it's not always easy, right? Because when you're a twin, you just are so close. You are so, any brother or sister, you're so close. I think about all the fights I've had in my life. All of the physical fights I've had in my life. Probably about five or so in my whole life. How many have I had with my twin brother? Golly, you couldn't even count the number. I mean, hundreds of fights. I mean, you know, I didn't win them all, I'll just say that. But tough. I mean, when you're talking about brothers, it gets personal. It gets close. It gets hard. You know, we were studying in Bible study recently. We're going through Genesis, so it may take a little while. So we're going through Genesis, and we looked at the sacrifices of Cain and Abel. Remember, it's in chapter 4. It's one of the very first things you read there in Genesis. And if you remember the story, Cain, the firstborn, offers his produce. I think it says produce to God. Where Abel offers his firstborn, the very firstborn and the fats of the meat. And he offers it to God, and God looks on favor with what Abel provides and doesn't really do so much for Cain. And so the question is God a carnivore? I mean, is he just not a vegetarian? Is that what it is? Well, if we do a little investigative work, what we find is that, according to rabbinic literature, What Cain was offering was just hay he found in the field. Just stuff what he didn't need. Just stuff he could gather up real quick because he saw Abel was coming up with something. But what Abel offered was the very best. The choicest cut. The thing that God most desires, which is even beyond just the meat itself, but is truly the devotion and the heart of which that gift was given. This message, it's hard. In fact, when I began my ministry, I promised myself I would never give a message like this. I would never give a message, because the message is about stewardship. Right? I promised myself I would never give a message like that because I'm scared. Right? It's scared to ask for anything. I'm that kind of person. I don't really like to ask for stuff. It just makes me a little, and so I've avoided talking about it my entire ministry for a while now. But I feel led to do it. And the crazy thing is, I have felt led to give this particular message since before I got here as your minister, as your pastor. Literally, there was one morning, I think it was in March, that Rachel and I came here, that I had this dream right before I came here. And it was so crazy, I got this crazy vision in my head when I would talk about stewardship or finance that I never knew if I would share it. I never knew, but I knew that if I was called to be your pastor, that I was going to have to give this message one day and give this imagery that I have. I'm not going to share it with you right now in a little bit, but I just felt it. And so I knew one day I'd have to do it, and so this is it, and it's going to be about the tithe. What is the tithe? What is that exact? Tithe actually means 10. And the way it best was described to me, I once went to New Orleans, and there was a Baptist preacher there. It was a big old Baptist church, and they were rocking and rolling there. And the way he described it is, God gives us 10 apples. God gives us 10 apples, and he only wants one. God gives you 10 apples, or insert pears, or whatever you want. 10 apples, and God just wants one of those for him. Can you offer him? He's already given you 10. Can you offer him one? Now, when we look at the tithe, we can find it lots of places in the scriptures, but one of the places that is very clear is in Leviticus. And here I'm going to read it right now. It's the last chapter of Leviticus, Leviticus chapter 27, the very end of that chapter. And just to give you an idea for what it's about, it says, a tithe of everything from the land, whether grain from the soil or fruit from the trees, belongs to the Lord, or Yahweh, or the God that is. And it is holy to this God. Whoever would redeem any of this tithe must add a fifth of the value to it. Every tithe of the herd and flock, every 10th animal that passes under the shepherd's rod will be holy to the Lord. No one may pick the good from the bad or make any substitution. If anyone does this, the animal and its substitute become holy and cannot be redeemed. These are the commands that Lord gave Moses at Mount Sinai for the Israelites. And so basically what you get here, and I just want to give you sort of a flavor for this a little bit, is that in this time period, there wasn't a lot of money, especially way back when. It was mostly in the form of livestock. So when you would have a little boy and a little girl goat or whatever, have another little goat, right? That very first goat that you got, the very first one you would offer to God as just sort of a blessing or offering of thanksgiving to God. And then every single 10th goat you got from those guys, every 10th goat you would give that other additional little goat to God. Kid. Or I don't know how that works. But yeah, something like that, right? So every 10th you would give to God. And so that's sort of how it worked. And it's sort of hard to know exactly what it is. And if you read Leviticus, because it wasn't so clear what things people would do, they would offer these gifts of thanksgiving, but they would also say to themselves, they'd say, God, if you could give me a child, if you could give me a child, I will offer him to you. Offer him to you. If you were to bless me with that, I will offer it to you. And so if God gives you a child or God gives you the land, or if that's something that you said to God, you need to go through with it. Right? It's on you to go through it. It's the part of the law here, right? And the thing is, obviously, God does not want you to offer your literal child. But there is a way to financially do this. There's 50 shekels of silver and this and that. And Leviticus gets very detailed on exactly how this process works. Specifically in the second temple of Jerusalem. I won't get into the details, but you get the ideas. But by the time Jesus comes around, by the time of the Romans and Jesus, it has gotten very clear. These sort of things that were like, what is that exactly? How does that work exactly? It's clear now. And at the time of Jesus, what all Jews were required is to pay 10% to the temple tax. Right? So basically what happened was there was a temple, it was the seat of God, the God of Yahweh, and that all of the Jewish people were required to offer 10% of what they got to this temple. Now if you lived in Jerusalem, all right, you're living in Jerusalem, they had these big festivals and stuff, 3 times a year, they'd have Passover and Sukkot, and you got another 10%. Sorry. And every third year, it would be another 10%. It's going up, huh? For the poor in our community. So that's how they allocate it. 10% for the temple, 10% if you lived in Jerusalem for these festivals, and 10% every third year for the poor, for the needy. And that's sort of how they worked it out. It was really beautiful. It had a great thing, and then Jesus comes along. Thanks, Jesus. Because Jesus has a whole different idea about how all this stuff works. You can't easily quantify it like that. You can't add the numeral or take away the this or that. It's not like that. And so what he says, if you read Mark chapter 12, he first off talks about scribes. He says, beware those scribes. I don't know if you've ever been a scribe before, but beware you, right? Beware the scribes. Those are people who can write. Now, a lot of people could read, but not everybody could write. And if you could write, that was a really special skill, and you could charge people money for that, and you could make up these contracts, and they were businessmen and lawyers, and he said, beware those scribes who wear the long robes and sit in the high places in the synagogue. And they're so proud of their long robes and their lengthy prayers. Beware them, because those are the same people that will swallow. He uses the word swallow the property of widows. These great scribes. And he says, come closer. You see, they go to the temple and they look at the temple, and he sees all these wealthy people giving all of these great gifts to the temple, and he sees a widow. And she gives just 2 little mites. Now, Rachel gave me a little mite. They actually have these coins. You can still find them. They find them in archaeological sites. These little bitty coins. And 2 of them together equaled a penny. 1 penny. And Yeshua says that this woman has given more than anybody else today. Because while these other people gave from what they had and had extra and it was a little on the side, she has given everything she owns. The very thing she uses to live by. She gave everything. Sort of a lesson of Yeshua. He's tough. Give everything. Gosh, it makes me feel sometimes like maybe I made a mistake. I'm going to tell you about a time I had in ministry a long time ago. I maybe made the biggest mistake of my life. I don't know. When I was living in Richmond, Indiana, there was a woman who would come into the congregation every now and then. Her name was Jenny. And she was sort of a unique soul. She sort of looked sort of quirky and weird. She never really graduated from college. She did odd jobs, she cleaned houses and walked people's dogs and just sort of got along and stuff. She's studying to be a librarian. You know, one of those kinds of people, librarian type? She never really made it, though. She'd tell you herself that she was bipolar. That she had, sometimes you would see Jenny and she would be dark. And you had no idea what you did. Nothing. You're like, and she just, and other days she was on top of the world. Like, oh my gosh, it was the best day of her life or whatever. Anyway, so I was walking into the office one day, and I see Jenny walking out, and she had a big old smile on her face, a big smile. And it was so gleaming, and she said, Pastor, I can't wait to say, I just gave you my car. I just gave the church my car. I was like, whoa. Your car? And I could see her car in my head. She had a very unique car. And I said, you just gave us her car? Yes, God told me to give you my car. I just feel so happy and overwhelmed. I'm so happy to do this. I'm giving you the car. This is going to be so great. And I'm like, well, see, I knew something about Jenny. That she had done these kinds of things in the past. And that part of the reason was she was so poor and she was going through so much in her life and she barely could get by is because she gave almost all of her money away. When she would get it, she would just get this idea that she just had to give it away. She just had to give it. And I felt maybe this was one of those moments. And I was like, hold on, Jenny, oh my gosh. And so I went into the office, and there was a secretary there named Wilma she just would fill in occasionally on off days, or she's like 89 years old or something like that. She did not like Jenny too much. And I was like, hey, did you hear about this? And she's like, yeah, I guess so. And, I guess we're going to get a new car. And I was like, right? I was like, no. And I was like, Jenny, come on in. And it was really incredible. This is God talking right here. This is God doing what here. I said, Jenny, come on to my office. Is it okay? And she came in, and she's still so smiling and happy. And I was like, Jenny, this car that you're giving us is what is it again, a 97? And she's like, yeah, it's a 97. It was like a Buick Regal or a LeSabre or something like that. And I was like, gosh, that is the best gift we have ever been given in our lives. What are we going to do with all that? If we were to, I don't know if we can hold on to it. We may have to sell it. Is that all right, Jenny? But that will do so good. I think that would be one of the best gifts we could imagine. Hold on here, though. Earlier this morning, I had a vision. There was something that hit me. I had a vision, and it was, I don't know, it's hard for me to say. I had a vision of your car. And I had no idea why it was in my dream or my vision. I don't know why. I had a vision of your car, and it was so crazy because it was in Fairfield, which is a little town about 20 miles north of Richmond. It's where James Dean grew up, if you want to know that. There you go, fan. And I was like, you know what? I had a vision of your car up there. It's unmistakable because it's the brown car, right, with the thing on the hood. Gosh, I had a vision of that car, but why would it be up in Fairfield? Now, I didn't tell her this. I had this vision after she told me that she wanted to give the car away. I didn't tell her that. But I said, I had that vision of it. And you know what? I don't know why it would be, but it must have been. Do you see those sweaters over there? Those sweaters over there. There's a woman in the congregation named Mary Margaret. I'm getting to the really details here. Mary Margaret, and her daughter ran a sort of a clothes tree up in Fairfield. And now Mary Margaret hadn't left her house in a long time. So I would have to drive up those clothes to visit her and drop those clothes off. I said, gosh, Jenny, I think we're supposed to go up there and give her those clothes. And we're supposed to take your car to go up there. So you can see, I don't know if you're supposed to give us your car. I think I'm supposed to go with you up there to visit Mary Margaret. What are you doing? Are you available today? I knew she was probably available. And I said, hey, you know what? I'll give Mary Margaret a call. Maybe she's up there right now. We could just drop them off right now. Mary Margaret was going to be available. And in a moment, yeah, Jenny was like, you're right. I think I see that too. I think we're supposed to do this together. And we went up, we visited Mary Margaret, we went up there, we dropped off those clothes. And in the process, she sort of found a new minister. It's so funny at the very end as we were coming back, and I was like, oh gosh, it was 30 miles there and back. As we coming back, I said to her, I need to pay you some for this gas. It's a ways. And she said, "No way. This is my gift." And she smiled. And it was her gift. And in the next year or so, or whatever, she probably did 6 different trips for us. And each time she gave us that gift. You know, I was thinking about this recently because I was checking out one of those evangelical preachers, televangelists, right? I used to see one. I shouldn't say his name. I shouldn't say. You remember a guy named Robert Tilden? You ever heard of that guy? These guys put his hands right up there like that. It almost went through the TV, right? He'd pray in the Holy Tongue and stuff. And anyway, I remember him one time. He would say these things, and it sort of perplexed me. He would say, you know, if you are poor, or you are experiencing poverty, it is because you have a mentality of poverty. It's because you believe in scarcity. Rather, what you need to be doing, even if you are so poor, you need to be offering us a seed right now. You need to be planting your seed with us right now, and God will bless you 10 times over. And it always just sort of, really? Is that how it works? Plant a mustard seed of faith? And it made me wonder if he was the kind of guy that would have just taken Jenny's car and just swallowed it right up. Probably. Living like a scribe. So what do we owe? What is our tithe? Now, when I think of a tithe, it's easy to think about it in terms of financial terms, but I'm not really like that so much. I think a tithe is really, it goes beyond that. It's your love and devotion to God. It's like, could you imagine not just giving 10% of your funds, but rather 10% of your heart to God? Or think about all the love you have in this world, all the love you have for the world and for all the people you love and your family and your friends and stuff. Could you give God 10% of that love? Can you quantify it? Where does Deep River fit in? Do we need 10%? Is that what it's about? I don't think so. This is the image I got that day. Sometime in March, I think. It's crazy. It was right before I woke up, and it's so crazy. I felt like literally there was a feather on my shoulder. Like just a feather. And it said, you need to tell them this. That of all to offer this ministry right here, what I'm asking of you today, if you really feel a part of us, and this is important to you, and this place is important to you, if that's something you really feel in your heart, I want you to offer us a feather. A feather right there. And I want you to put it right there, or whatever, however you want to identify that, however you do that, one feather. Now, if you think about a feather, that's not too heavy. It's not too heavy. Of all that you have in your life, I don't think a feather is that much. But you know the thing about feathers? Especially feathers like eagle feathers they're really pretty. They mean something. It's not like a speck of dirt you're getting off, right? You know, it's not like dandruff or something. It's not like a string. It's a feather. It means something that only you know what it means. And it could be 50 cents, a feather. I mean, several times in my life that literally, if I could only give a feather, it is $1. Right? Only 10 minutes. And there have been other times in my life that it could be much more. It's just each individual person has their own understanding of what that means. Now, everybody's required to give a feather, but except there's only people. Let's say your life has been so blessed. Let's say that you got to see the grandkids not twice but 3 times this year, right? Didn't have any health concerns. The stock market went up. All right, for you, my friend, 2 feathers. 1 on each shoulder. That's the image I got. If you were blessed like that, 2 feathers. And maybe this is the biggest year of your life. I mean, you can't imagine it. Wow, thank you, got 3 feathers. And that's it. That's it. If this has been the best, 3 feathers. And give them with pride and with love and with joy. That's it. You know, most of my life, it's been hard for me to give feathers. I got to be honest. I've not always given a feather. In fact, if you know me well enough, if you know me long enough, you'd find me to be pretty stingy, sort of cheap. Rachel smiled. I don't know. I'm lucky I don't have my glasses on. I can't really see what she's... But it's hard for me at times. It's been hard. Sometimes I just didn't have 2 nickels to put together. And I couldn't give any feathers. I wish I could. I wish I could have had that energy. Like that guy said, I've been just feeling so poor, but if I just give you everything, that it's all going to come back to me tenfold. I didn't have that faith. Maybe I still don't. Sometimes I've had a lot of money. The money wasn't the problem, but it was time. Gosh, I couldn't give anybody any time or attention because I was so focused on other things. Just didn't have it. Maybe if I had done that, things would be differently. Maybe I would have gotten a lottery ticket and, oh, golly. But it just doesn't, I don't know, my life has just not seemed like that. I only seem to be able to give feathers and be able to give gifts when I feel blessed myself. When I feel the blessing around me and through me, and I'm like, gosh, yeah, God, you please use me. It's only in those moments that I feel like I can do it. And maybe you're different, but that's just been my experience. But when we look at the sacrifices that we have in the Bible, when they offer sacrifice, it's usually, almost always, for a lot of different things, but it's usually an offering of thanksgiving. And that out of all the blessing that we've received or I've received, I'm offering you this back. You know, so what am I asking for? What if you don't have any feathers? I have a dear friend who comes to visit me. I've mentioned to her a couple of times, we need to keep hold her in the light. She comes to visit me and she doesn't have any feathers to give. She's hurting. She's struggling. And so what do I ask of somebody who doesn't even have any feathers to get together? I just ask you to be open to God's blessing. Open to witnessing it, to experiencing it, to see it. Because, see, when I look at her right now, she's so struggling so hard, and yet I see God's path for her. I see God's blessing. She can have everything she wants. I mean, what she really wants is an apartment and a car. She can have that. And I see the plan for it. But she has to be open to it. Because in this one, guys, I won't get into the details too much. It would have for her to admit that she's not perfect. That she needs help. Just like a lot of her friends need help. And she can't do it. She struggles with just allowing people to help her. And a recognition in her own heart that she does need help. I think so many of us, even though we're impoverished and we just feel like we can't do anything, there could be bars of gold around. But are we open enough to see them? Can we witness to them? Are they hidden under a cloak somewhere or a coat or something like that? Are they down low and all we are is looking up? Or are they up high and all we're doing is looking low? I mean, she has a way. But will she allow God to work in her life that way? It's not easy at times. But I want us to be on the lookout for our blessings. And when she has that blessing, if you feel like you can't give a feather to anybody, when you have that blessing, I want you to remember us here at Deep River Friends. But I think it's more important that you remember God in your life. When you have that blessing, if you can't get a feather together, when you get it, I want you to bless this world with your light and your love and your gift and your presence. Dear God, let us remember that. You know, we are coming to Thanksgiving, and I want us to remember the blessings of our lives. Let us remember the blessing of family. If you got a family, I want you to thank God for that family. Because you know what? Not everybody has a family. I visited plenty of people in the hospital alone on Thanksgiving or Christmas who didn't have anybody to call them or tell them happy Thanksgiving. I've visited lots of people. You got friends, people who care about you. I want you to thank God for those friends. Not everybody has friends. If you've got a church community, if you've got a meeting, a family that cares about you, that holds you in spirit and love and light, you got to thank God for that community. Because not everybody has it. I know a lot of people who don't have anything like that whatsoever. There's no meaning like that for them whatsoever. You got to thank God for that. And you know what? We got to thank God for our chicken pie. Because not everybody gets a chicken pie. Not everybody gets to taste it so right and so. So let's be thankful for the gifts that we are given in our lives, and not even just remember the blessing, but take joy in the gifts we are given, and joy in the gifts that we share, and recognition of God's blessing among us, within us, and through us. And through that blessing, let us share it with God and this world.
Thank you, Philip. Let's all remember all of our blessings this week as we go forward into another holiday season. Join me in ending our worship this morning by standing and singing "Come Ye Thankful People Come," number 559.
Well, before we head on this, I hope it's going to be a very beautiful day. It's very sunny, so let's just be thankful for that. Let's say a prayer of thanksgiving. Dear God, we just want to thank you so much for the thanksgivings of our life. This day comes but once a year, but we know that each and every day is an opportunity to be thankful to you for the gifts we are given in this life by you and our family and our friends, but just for your holy mercy and your path that we are given to go home to you. Dear God, I just want to thank you so much for each and every person here and the gifts they bring. In your spirit we pray. Amen.